All right. Hey, everyone. It's Bradley from Elevates Coaching. And I just wanted to share a little anecdote or thought about this next generation of workplace culture and the next generation of workers, the Gen Z workers, for example, and how there's a little bit of a difference between when I was growing up in the workforce and when this new generation's been growing up through this workforce. And one of the things that I teach in my Valve framework is the importance of having a vision, because the vision really sets the tone for your team culture, your workplace, and it helps everyone get in alignment with what it is that you're trying to achieve. And so I remember this moment when I was going through my leadership development in a more active leadership role, and I had set up a task for someone, and they had just looked at me and said, "Why?" This drove me absolutely off the wall, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And I realized that when I had been coming up through the ranks in my early work history, there was this leadership dichotomy that was just, here's your manager, here's their boss, here's the owner, and you just did whatever the next person said. Because on the other side of that was the threat of, well, get the F out. We don't need you here. The threat of unemployment was real. And there wasn't much thought put in beyond that. Hey, we did what we were told. And in today's day and age, I think this generation has had more access to not just technology, but access to access. This idea that you could have these immediate things in front of you at any point in time. And one of those things is understanding workplace rights and when you can and cannot dismiss somebody. So I think that may have played part of a role here. But the other thing that I realized is I was starting to sound like one of my parents when I was growing up. Tell you to do something. Why? Because I said so. I didn't really love that. And what I realized is that the way to cut all this off, and rather than being a petty dickhead about it, just set the tone of what the bigger vision is. So if you're setting out goals or objectives for somebody to complete, ensure that they know what it's in alignment with. Maybe it's with a customer's success. Maybe it's in alignment with a company's goals. Maybe it's in alignment with their career trajectory or your career trajectory, or just something that makes it abundantly clear why it is that they're doing what they're doing. And you'll find that you remove a lot of the resistance as to the why by just being clear from the start. I find that this generation, more than any other generation, just wants to make sense of what's going on. They need to understand the underlying reason. And the reason for that is because they are much more resourceful in many ways than we were when we were coming up. And what I mean is they've got a lot more different technologies available to them, and they know how to use them better than we do often. So if they can understand what the ideal outcome is, normally they can reach that outcome in a better way than we might have thought for them to do it. Or maybe even realign what the task is to do something that's even more valuable in the big picture. So rather than being a donkey about things, share that unified vision of where it is that you want to go so that everyone can be in alignment and make sense of it on their journey. If you find these types of ideas valuable, please give me a like, a follow, comment, and look forward to more content related to leadership and culture in the near future. Thanks and have a phenomenal day. Bye now.